Hello there, welcome back. This is Sheepishly here once again, and today I have one of the most fun farming strategies I've ever done in the entirety of Path of Exile, and keep in mind I've been playing since the Talisman League, which is quite a number of years ago. I saw this video the other day from this YouTuber called Everything. I will link his video below. It's called Titanic Blightheart. It is incredible. The premise is so simple. Instead of going to farm Blight for the blighted map drops, you instead farm the Blight bosses, and they drop tremendous amount of loot, and especially in 3.26, GGG buffed the gold drops from Blight encounters. I was walking away with almost a million gold every hour farming the strategy, not to mention the loot explosions, as you have seen from the highlights before. It's something that is so satisfying. With that being said, before we go into the strategy itself, I just have two disclaimers. The first being that this is a very RNG dependent strategy. The variance on the loot is very high. Some maps you're gonna get divines back to back, other times you are gonna go 8-10 maps without seeing a single big drop. The second disclaimer is that this is a very hard strategy to run. You need a very strong character for it. Even though we try to perma-freeze and chill the Blight bosses, sometimes they just slip through. Might be a bug, might be something else, I'm not too sure. Or if you get the jumping goat man boss, you'll know exactly what I mean if you run the strategy for a couple of maps. Yeah, you're gonna die quite a bit, is all I can say, unless you have a immortal character. But if you feel like your character may not be quite up to scratch, that's okay. At the end of this video, I have two map showcases where I go through the different tower strategies, take you through step by step essentially on what my thought processes are at each step of the way for the Blight encounters. So give that a watch and see if that helps you out. Now, in terms of the strategy itself, I'll firstly go through the tree. Now, the tree is very similar to Everything's tree. The exception here is I am taking the Blight spawn chances on tree, and I am instead using the quantity craft on the map device. The other change I've made is I've come up here to take blue altars. And the reason I take blue altars, it's, well, firstly, my build is really geared towards blue altars, and secondly, the blue altars will help you juice the Blight encounter even more. So my strategy is to go in, kill the boss first, run around the map, collect all the altars, and then we do the Blight encounter at the end. But besides that, the tree is pretty standard for a Titanic Blightheart strategy. One thing I will note is that if you don't want to take blue altars, whether your build can't handle the altar mods, or if you just prefer to not full clear the map, I would actually come down here and take these blocking nodes, especially this one. By blocking out the other content, you have more chances of dropping what you really want, which is ambush Scarab of the containment. It also lets you drop one of these Blight encounter chances, so your tree will be more efficient that way. The last tag on the Atlas tree I want to mention, it's this node here, Dance of Destruction. If you really have a lot of trouble killing the Blight bosses, come take this node, it's gonna make it marginally easier for them to go down. Coming over to the Scarabs, it's a pretty standard setup. We have one Titanic Scarab, two Titanic Scarabs of Treasures, one Wisp, and of course one Blight Scarab of the Blightheart. This is what gives you the big blighted chest at the end of the map. In terms of the maps that we want to use, I recommend running these 8 modded corrupted maps. You can buy them from TFT or from the trade site pretty easily. The reason we want to run 8 modded maps is because they give us the highest amount of pack size, and from the Titanic Scarabs, we do get more loot for each 1% increased pack size, so these two pairs out really well. In terms of the actual map layouts, I like C-Square and Strength. So unlike traditional Blight strategies, you want an open map, so there's more lanes to spawn and there's more rewards. Now, I went with C-Square and Strength because I have very good divination cards squared onto them. But realistically, you can run these on dunes, you can run this on Mesa, on shore, any map is fine, you can pick your favorite there. Now, onto the map mods, there is 3 mods you absolutely should not run on this strategy. The first one is monsters have 70% chance to avoid any elements. This means that your freezing towers will not be able to freeze the bosses, and that makes the Blight encounters so much harder to complete. In a similar vein, you also don't want to take monsters cannot be stunned. This makes them immune to stun towers. And lastly, monster speed cannot be reduced below base value. This again makes them immune to freeze towers, which we absolutely do not want to do. In terms of Ring Annoints, the only one that's mandatory is Chilling Towers freeze enemies for 0.2 seconds. As long as you have this Annoyant, your Chilling Towers plus an Empowering Tower can solo an entire lane. As long as they're not resistant to Chilling Towers, I've had a single Chilling Tower freeze the entire line of bosses, so this enchant is very good for this strategy. On your second ring, it doesn't really matter what you do. I use Empowering Towers, I have 25% increase effect, But you can use the increased stun tower frequencies, you can use the media towers, dropping burning grounds. You can experiment a bit with this one and just use whatever works well with your build. Now, before we go into the map showcases, I just want to quickly touch on why I won't be providing a divines per hour for this strategy. And the reason is that it is such high variance, my experience is simply not going to line up with yours, right? Like, if it helps, I have a screenshot here of my Wealthy Exile from earlier today when I was farming this. You can see that I clocked in something at 14 divines per hour just from the raw drops. Now, this number could be 10 divines, could be 30 divines, I don't know. Other people have estimated this at 15 to 20 divines, which I think it's roughly lines up with my experience, but just depends on if you can get lucky with the drops or not. Speaking of lucky drops, I just want to quickly show off some of the good stuff I got on this tab here. So firstly, we had a Voidborn Reliquary Key drop from one of them, which is about almost 2 divines. We had 2 Scarab of Catalyzing, which is 1 divines each. And we've dropped 2 Containment Scarabs, which is of course selling for 1.6, 1.7 divines. We've also dropped a 4th Vow, which I managed to corrupt with +1 Socketed Gems. This is selling for about, if I search for this, about 16 divines. So it's a very good payday for me. And lastly, I also managed to pull out this 28% Necrotic Armor. Now, let's dive into the map showcases. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Okay, let's do a quick showcase of how we do these Blights. So when they start, I like to put a portal next to it in case I die so I can run back quickly. So for this one, we got pretty lucky. There is no Chilling Tower immune. So we're gonna do a Empowering Tower. We're gonna upgrade level 3 and then we're not gonna touch anymore. And then we're gonna do Chilling Tower level 3. We're not gonna do the tier 4 upgrades because say on tier 3 is actually the strongest version of both of these towers. We're going to help them clear a little bit and just see where the rest of the mobs spawn. So I think the key thing is that there's one lane of Blight that's all bosses. And when you see that, and that's the lane you want to target the most, because these bosses, if they get to your pump, they will just destroy it into... Okay, there's the boss, we see it. Let's focus on the boss there. We've got a Chilling Tower and a Stunning Tower there. It should be good to go, but let's build another Sentinel Tower. So Sentinel Tower is the other Stalling Tower. That's really good, which I forgot to mention. I think, and then you're set, right? There's no immunities. They should really not be moving, and you can just come in and build whatever you want here. We do have the Salvaging Towers keynote allocated, which means that we want to build as many tier 4 towers as possible. Each of these towers we build will become a little chest we can click on at the end. Yeah, let's just spam these. It doesn't really matter what you build, and I think like you get a reward for building different types of towers. You can see that I'm trying to spam one of each type, and I think a tier 3 tower also counts as a different type, but hey, don't quote me on that. Yeah, you'll get infinite juice in terms of like building towers, so don't worry about that. For these bosses, if you have DPS, come in and do some DPS to kill them quickly. Sometimes there's one that... there's 2 bosses that's really annoying. There's one that splits, right? When it splits, they actually get out of like crowd control and they can just rush your pump. The other one's the Jumping Goats. We didn't get it this time, which is fortunate because I died to the Jumping Goats every single time. That goat cannot be frozen. I think it can be stunned. It can't be frozen, it can be stunned. And with these 8 mods and 8 mod maps, it's going to do so much damage to you. And there you go. That's the loot explosion for the map there. And let's see what we get. 16 stack decks. Oh, we're gonna go again. Another 16 stack decks. A third time, we've got 50 stack decks in one map. That's actually quite crazy. Sometimes we get these fractured items. I check them always, but I haven't got anything good so far. This is probably worth nothing. Anathemas, which we just dropped last map. All of these Blight towers, you can see that some are Blight bounties and Blight hordes. Sorry, Salvage bounty and Salvage hordes. Salvage hordes are from tier 4 towers. These give you better loot. Salvage bounty are tier 3s. You can see that most of the times they're just filtered out by my loot filter there. I will link my tree below, but I think I'm thinking of changing the tree. Ooh, containment. There you go. Not planned at all, but 2.5 divines. I mean, sorry, 1.5 divines. Still good. Well, that's it. Oh, and I forgot to mention, one map you can see we made 77,000 gold. I have so much gold. I don't think I've even had this much gold in Settlers, and we had like a year to play that league. I have 2 million gold, and that's spending about like 2 million earlier today rolling for all my tier 5 farmers. You can see all my farmers are tier 5. I have 3 mapping stations going. All of them are tier 5 as well. I even rolled extra tier 5s to replace the mappers for when they die. And I still have 2 million gold. It's crazy. This is, even if you don't make good divines per hour, which you do, the gold farm itself, it's absolutely crazy. So okay, jumping over here is an example where we have a lot of lanes that's immune to ice towers. So the strategy here is to really spam your other blockers, which is your stun towers. And you do want to empower your stun towers with your empowering towers. It's quite nice. You want to do this as well as summoning towers. Summoning towers can also be a very good source of, well, stopping the monsters from reaching your pump. One thing I've noticed is that a lot of these times, the bosses actually don't come from these immunity towers. Like sometimes they do, but a lot of the times the bosses will just come from a normal tower. So it's probably still good to build. Oh my god, this one's so close to my base. I might very well fail this. In which case it's gonna be kind of awkward. Okay, there's the boss. The boss spawned, and we're just going to spam these stun towers and freeze towers on the bosses. One good thing about my build, which is Mamba, is that I can see that I just tap it once and the whole screen absolutely disappears. Yeah, I think if you have a strong build, you probably won't be able to do this, but to be honest, as long as you get the right towers going, the monsters should not be able to move anyways. So let's build another summoning tower here, just for a little bit more damage. Yeah, as you can see, with empowering towers and stun towers, nothing's really moving. So we can just kind of run around and do whatever we want here. Okay. Oh, I think I almost died there. I do die a lot on these maps, unfortunately. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Sometimes, because these are 8-mod maps, sometimes there's minus max and I don't really roll over them, I just run them. You kind of die very quickly when you run these, and sometimes the bosses all spawn with some really... I don't know, like, if you ever do one of these maps with, like, multi-proj, you'll know what I mean. Like, the screen is absolutely clustered with projectiles, and you just get absolutely demolished by them. But anyways, there we go. The map's pretty much done. We can upgrade some of these towers to tier 4, so we get more money. What do we drop? That's a lot of blighted maps. Yeah, well, there you go. We also can drop blighted maps. Exalt, Equipping and Divine. What else? We have some tier 17s. You do get a lot of tier 17s for this, which is a good profit. Let me just quickly open the boxes and cut the video. Maybe we can get another containment. I don't think we will. It's quite rare. Strength ring. Oh, Divine Orb. There you go. I will say though, it's quite lucky. You definitely don't expect to drop a Divine Orb despite what the highlights say. I think I drop a Divine, well, essentially once every 5 maps maybe. 5 to 6 maps, I guess. But you also got, but you do get quite a lot of good big drops in between them, so